Should I take my glasses off? What do you think? On, off, on, off. What do you think? Set it right here for now. There we go. Here are the books. The first book that I really want to talk about is Andy Weir's Hail Mary. Picked this up on recommendation from Brandon Sanderson's channel. Really liked it a lot. It's really enjoyable read. Let's angle this down a little bit so you can see a little bit better. There we go. I would say this is close to a 5-star book, in my opinion. There's a couple things, primarily the ending, that hold it back from being a true 5-star perfect book. But great book, highly recommend it. Review coming. This is kind of a different book. The Big Short by Michael Lewis. This is like the first kind of like financial book that I've read, and it was a lot of jargon. And this is a book about the real estate downturn of 2008. If you don't know anything about how financial markets work, this is a challenging book to read for sure. A lot of it just won't make sense. And the author's really upfront about that. He's like, oh, if you've made it this far, like, congratulations. If you feel like you don't understand this, well, that's normal because you're not supposed to understand it. It's supposed to be convoluted to make you feel kind of dumb. That's kind of how Wall Street works. It's pretty shocking what happened and what people got away with. Doesn't really seem like they fixed the issue. It seems like they just kind of put it off. And I kind of wonder if we're, what's the next thing that's going to happen. Interesting book, not science fiction fantasy. True story, nonfiction, good read, would recommend. Next book I read was All Systems Red by Martha Wells. Short story, novella, book thingy. It's good. I'd probably give it 3 stars. Spoiler alert for my upcoming review, if I actually do one. I didn't love it. I liked the protagonist person. It's like an android of some sort. But I felt like anytime something interesting happened, the protagonist just got knocked out. It felt too short. I would have loved to see this fleshed out as a novel. I think that would be way more interesting for me personally. I don't know. It didn't really leave me with like this feeling of like, wow. And I that's what I want when I read a book, is I want to be wowed. I want to have those moments of just like, whoa. I didn't really feel that in here. Pretty good. I don't know if I'll continue the series. I know there's more. Let me know. If you think this is a great series and I'm just wrong and I should continue reading it and give it another shot, let me know. I can understand why people would like it, but it was just okay in my opinion. Another nonfiction book I finished recently is this one, 1917, all about Vladimir Lenin and President Woodrow Wilson and World War I. Kind of heavy stuff, really crazy. Woodrow Wilson was like crazy racist, which is sad. And Vladimir Lenin was crazy, just crazy. Really turned the tide of history. Really interesting book if you're interested in history. I'm fascinated with Russian history. I think they have a very rich history, very rich literary history. Good book. Good book. Probably not for everyone. Probably only a few people that would actually want to read World War I history. And I'm just kind of an odd duck in that I like a lot of variety. I have a sophisticated palate, if you will. I like a variety of flavors in my literary diet. What else? Oh yeah, I got my haircut. What do you think? To the none of you who are watching. Book that I am currently reading. Senlin Ascends by Josiah Bancroft. I'm really digging this book. It's great. I got chills reading this book. I'll get more into this. I'll do a review on this one. But there's a moment like a quarter to a third of the way through that just gave me chills. It was really good. And the writing is beautiful. Really good book. I've got the next 2 books in my Amazon cart. I'm gonna pull the trigger pretty soon because I'm like 2/3 of the way through the book. Probably finish it tomorrow, and then I'll need to read the sequels. I'm gonna try to get my wife to read it so we can maybe read the sequels together. We like to do that sometimes. Really good stuff. I'm gonna try to finish this series before I think the 4th and final book in the series comes out this November, I want to say, and that will be very exciting. I don't know, just like really cool vibe. Totally different than anything else I've read. I recently finished this book. My wife and I read it together. Age of Myth by Michael J. Sullivan. It's part of his Legends of the First Empire series. Michael Sullivan is kind of a new favorite author of mine. My wife got me going on him. I'd read Brandon Sanderson's stuff and I was like, oh wow, actually, I really like fantasy. This is crazy. And she got a recommendation to read Theft of Swords, which is the first book of the Rhaenyra Revelations books. And I was like, I don't know. Seems just like another elves and dwarves story and these kind of cliche fantasy stuff. She was really digging it. She really liked it. She got me started on it and I loved it. They're just kind of like really fun adventures, really whimsical, probably like 4-star out of 5 type stuff. 4 stars out of 5. And then the third book, things get really interesting. Kind of the second half of the second book and the third book, yeah, things really take off. By the end of the third book, I just had the wow factor again. The book leaves you kind of with this, what is the word? Emotional catharsis that a good story gives you. That's how I felt when I finished the Rhaenyra Revelations books. You know, afterwards, my wife and I read Rhaenyra Chronicles, which are also good. I'd probably put them below Rhaenyra Revelations. Revelations is pretty special stuff. And then I saw that Michael J. Sullivan was doing a Kickstarter for his new book, which is coming out, called Nolyn. This series takes place, you know, a couple thousand years before Rhaenyra Revelations. I'll do a review on this one too. Don't you worry. It's slower than Rhaenyra. I feel like he's building up a lot for what's to come. There's a lot of books in this series. I ordered the whole series as part of the Kickstarter for Nolyn. It's a great way to support artists directly if they're doing something like a Kickstarter. We're currently reading Age of Swords, and this is slower than Age of Myth. It's a slow burn. I miss the characters from Rhaenyra, if I'm being honest, but it's good. I'm gonna finish it. And my goal is to read all these and then read Nolyn before the end of the year. So I've read Dune before, and I liked it. You know, it's pretty psychedelic stuff. It's kind of mind-bending. The point of view is really like, what? Isn't that what they said not to do in writing class? I want to reread it. The first time I read it, I was kind of like, oh yeah, I can see why people like this and why it's highly influential and often listed among best sci-fi books ever written. There is a part in this book where I did feel that wow factor again, the chills. I did feel that in this book. So when an author can do that, great. That's what I want to feel when I read a book. So that's a to-read book. Another nonfiction book I want to read, Atomic Habits by James Clear. I'm kind of a sucker for psychology. I think it's fascinating how our brains work, and how if you learn a little bit about it, you can like kind of hack your brain to make you do things and become awesome. It's like a superpower. I would like to read this because I'm a pretty busy guy and I have a lot of things I want to do and accomplish, and sometimes it's hard to achieve your dreams. I'm always looking for ways to help myself become a better me, become the best me I can. So yeah, that's kind of the stuff that I've been reading, am reading, want to read. I'm gonna have a lot of reviews coming for these books, unless I fail. Oh, another book that I read recently, Misery by Stephen King. Great book, really good. I liked it a lot. I've read some other King. It's kind of heavy stuff. Sometimes it makes me feel like dark inside. Like that. But also, he's a great writer. Very, very talented guy. That Stephen King. I liked Misery. It's probably my favorite book of his that I've read, although I really liked The Institute as well. That was a great book I read last year. The Stand was really haunting. I read that last year. Still working on that 1 million subscribers. I think I'm at like 0 at this point in time. Comment below. Let me know if you read any of these books and which ones do you love? Which ones should I read that I don't have here, judging by my tastes? Oh, you like Senlin Ascends? You might like the actual Bible, sir. Thank you for watching. I'll be back soon.